You've enjoyed the conference, obviously. Yes. And one of the issues that's come up from this conference is the perception that corruption in Africa is an inhibitor to foreign investment. But as you could see, a completely different view was put forward there by the chief executive, the chairman of Algebra, who said that this is a problem that's global and it doesn't stop him from investing in a place like Zimbabwe, for example. So do you think that with a change of attitude, the so-called problem of corruption should not really be an inhibitor to business in Africa?
No, I think first of all, corruption in general, whether it is in Africa or anywhere else, is an inhibitor. You don't pay for something that has not the value that he should have. But let us put that on one side, because if you start looking at only inhibitors, you won't do anything. You know, in our institution, what we say is, let us not look at why we cannot do something, but how we can do something. Yes, there is corruption here and there, not only in Africa, but Africa has so many other attractive assets. So why don't we focus on those and make sure that we realize something in the continent?
Another point that was raised in the session so far is that business, the private sector, should be more engaged and involved intrinsically in business development in Africa. It's a view that's global. What do you think of that, and what measures do you think should now be put in place to encourage business to be more involved in development, not just leaving it to government and the public sector?
No, I definitely agree that private sector has a major role to play. It is very clear that it is not government who will be creating jobs. It is the private sector. And also when you look at the important infrastructure gap in our continent, clearly government alone cannot fill that gap. You need a public-private partnership so that you can develop that infrastructure that is much needed if we want to transform the economies of our continent. You look at Africa today, in spite of all this growth, the basic structure of our economies still remain the same, and that needs to be changed. We need to move away from basic commodity exporter to exporter of finished products.
Trade facilitation within Africa, apart from trade between Africa and other regions, has been flagged up as a key potential. How can that better be exploited and put in place?
First of all, again, infrastructure comes into play. You see, if it is, as it is today, difficult to go from one African country to the other, how do you do business together? If you cannot move goods across the border simply because there is no road, or there is no a shipping line, or there is no railway. Can you imagine that very few rails have been put in our continent since colonial time? And we all know what rail did to the development of America. So those are basic things that needs to be addressed. Then we also need, as I said earlier, to transform our economies, because if you are only trading commodities,
restructuring basically,
definitely it is a transformation that is needed, because you cannot export cocoa from Cote d'Ivoire to Ghana, because the two of them are cocoa producers. So you should go further and transform the cocoa into chocolate.
Down the value, exploit the value chain properly. Dubai, amazing story. What lessons for you for Africa?
The only lesson that I can say that I take from it is that it is doable. When you see it and you know where they are coming from, you say, so it is possible to to achieve something.
Absolutely. And so you find them as a model that can be replicated across Africa?
I think as a model that lesson can be drawn from. Replication, I don't know, because it will be, you have 54 countries in Africa, and 54 countries cannot be Dubai. So each country should look at its comparative advantages and implement it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.